people were depressed and struggling and not helping each other, and it just felt very hostile. It didn't feel good. This is going to be really controversial. This could actually be very, very controversial. I've been all over the country the last year and a half with my husband Justin and our RV as we've been living, working, and traveling full time. And in the process of traveling, we've hit the entire lower 48. Hawaii and Alaska won't be on this list, although we have been to Alaska. We didn't RV there. But in today's episode, I want to talk about the 3 worst states we've RV'd in, as well as the 3 best, and why we feel that way. Now, this is just my opinion. I've decided to leave Justin out of this controversial video, and I'm sure everybody else has a different outlook, but these are my opinions, and I just thought I would share. So I'll start with the 3 best states to RV in, and already there's a deviation. I had to pick 4. It was really hard to only pick 3. Now that tells you a lot. I knew what the 3 worst states were. A part of it is because RV life is so much fun and there's so many benefits to all different places. Even the 3 worst, there were still some benefits, but these were the 4 that really shone for different reasons, which I'll talk about really briefly. And these are in no particular order. These are definitely the 4 that really stood out. The first one was Washington State. The Pacific Northwest is gorgeous. Washington State is no different. The people in Spokane were so friendly. We had a magical 3 weeks near Mount St. Helens in rural Washington that were incredible. It was just wonderful. We had a great time visiting Seattle. Seattle is a really cool modern city. There's a lot to do there. In some ways that can be a con too, depending. You know, it reminded me a lot of Dallas. People are going to laugh at me. I think Dallas and Seattle are essentially the same city. Very similar in vibes. I mean, they have like backwards politics from each other, but like they are like the same city, just the way they feel, just very, very expensive, very fast, very loud. The drivers are a little nicer in Washington State though, and that includes Seattle, which I really did appreciate. But yeah, Dallas and Seattle are both boom towns, but I really liked Washington. Another state we really liked was Alabama. People are like, Alabama? Yeah, the Gulf Coast was awesome. We stayed down there. One of the nicest RV parks we stayed at was this resort in Foley, Alabama, which is a really cool kind of upcoming suburb that's near the Gulf Shores, near the Gulf Coast there. There's also the beautiful Orange Beach with the squeaky sand. We had so much fun there. It was really great. And it really wasn't expensive for what it was. It's the kind of thing where if we ever do end up with a north and a south home, I could totally see getting a winter home down in that area because it was beachy and neat, but it wasn't as built up and as crazy as some other places that we visited. I really had a good time in Alabama. I wasn't expecting it. Like seriously, who knew? Who knew? Another great state for us was Texas, which was really actually ended up very convenient because that's where we started. That's where we moved out of our apartment and got to our RV, and we actually lived at a nearby RV park for a couple weeks while we were moving out of our apartment. And our test trips were both in Texas. We took one test trip to Dino Valley. We returned there later for the eclipse, which was really fun. That was in Glen Rose, about an hour from where we lived before we moved out. Really nice RV park, really nice area. That's the state park in Texas where they have the dinosaur prints in the riverbed. Our other test trip that we went on, we went down to Corpus Christi. We were down on the beach, Mustang Island, Port Aransas. It was magical. It was so cool. And in general, Texas was really easy to RV in. They say everything's bigger in Texas. A lot of the RV sites were really big. There was lots of room. And, you know, the weather, it gets a little hot in Texas. It's a pretty decent place to winter in. It gets a little dicey in those transitional seasons, though, in the fall and the spring with tornado season and winds and whatnot. We managed to navigate that okay, but yeah, Texas RV parks. There were lots of them. The spaces were big. They had vacancy. It was really, really easy for us. Like very newbie friendly. Loved RVing in Texas. Yeah. And perhaps somewhat shockingly, our favorite state to RV in, is probably our most favorite, if I had to pick one of all of these, was Oregon. Oh my gosh. Oregon is so beautiful. It's a bit like Washington. It's a very similar climate, but things are even more laid back. People are even kinder and even more patient. There's so much natural beauty. We loved the Oregon desert. We loved Bend. We loved the whole area of Portland and Multnomah Falls and the Oregon coast and the beach and Oregon. Even one of our favorite RV parks that was at a drive-in movie theater. So basically they had like a big screen and you could see the show from your RVs, or they also had a sitting area where you could sit out in chairs. That was so cool. That was also in Oregon. That was in rural Oregon. So I would say as a state, it has been the most fun for us, the most beautiful. People are lovely. So it was probably a little unexpected, right? Everything's sort of polarized. People are very us and them. Two of my favorites states were, Oregon and Washington, which are, kind of more liberal states. And then my other two were Alabama and Texas, which are more red states. I'm just telling you like it is. The vibes were good and it was easy to RV in those states. It's the thing about Alabama and Texas is they were very RV friendly. They were used to RVing and things were sort of set up for it. Same thing with the Pacific Northwest. The culture in Oregon and Washington is very RV friendly. People tend to have RVs and people are used to seeing them on the road, and it's just a lot easier. Okay, so those are the best states. What were the three worst states? Hands down, the worst state to RV in was California. So it's interesting because Washington and Oregon were fantastic. California, not so much. And that was a factor of multiple things. Like the gas prices are really high there, yes. But real estate prices are really high in California as well. And the RV park we stayed at in the Bay was really expensive and wasn't really worth it. It was like, meh. We dealt with the Bay for Napa and it was fine. We went and did wine tasting for Justin's birthday and that part was really fun. The one that we stayed at in Northern California was kind of around Redding. It was totally priced well, but the vibes for Redding, California were terrible. Like, people were depressed. It was awful. Like, it just felt horrible. Like, I've been to places that were country and felt good. I've been to cities that felt good. People were depressed and struggling and not helping each other, and it just felt very hostile. It didn't feel good. The Bay felt a little bit better as far as vibes, but it was very expensive. And Bakersfield was okay. Probably the best thing that we did was when we were at Needles on the border in the Mojave. We found this really cool RV park. We were practically in Arizona at that point. So that was pretty cool. That was just for the desert vibes. But yeah, California, I wouldn't be in a hurry to go RV in California again unless they were doing something specific. Maybe San Diego, Palm Desert. It'd be expensive. I do like San Diego a lot. I've been there before I RV'd, so I know it's expensive, but it might work out. I don't know. This next one's going to be really controversial, but another place I really hated was Florida. So Florida's beautiful and interesting and very popular with retirees, and I think that might be the whole problem. So many RV parks in Florida are 55 plus only, and we are not 55 plus. Justin and I are both in our 40s. That limited things a great deal. What we could find available was very, very expensive. We paid a lot for it. Disney was fun. We had a really good time going to Disney World. Even the Disney World RV park was kind of an amazing, chaotic situation though. Just very, very expensive, hard to book things. I think if we went during the summer, maybe it'd be a little better, but I don't know. I think it really depends. Places that are 55 plus or 55 plus year round. I know that the off season tends to be a little bit less crowded in Florida. I hear people saying you can get some places. And there were parts of Florida that were, we went to Port St. Joe, which was kind of at the edge in the Panhandle. Yeah, the Florida Panhandle stuff that was a little bit more affordable. Went to Perry, that was pretty good. But yeah, once you got below the interstate there, once you got towards the Tampa area and below, it just got really expensive. I hear Key West is very expensive, and I get it, it's popular, but I don't know if it's worth it. One of our least favorite states that we have RV'd in, I would say probably, this is going to be really controversial. This could actually be very, very controversial, but I would say probably one of my least favorites is Nevada. So there's a few reasons for this. We basically, I don't know if Nevada is for us. I like desert, but it is scorching. It's very sparsely populated. We're not really Vegas people. We did actually go to Las Vegas this last year and a half to meet up with one of Justin's coworkers. Their entire office is remote. He just moved to Las Vegas. We actually drove all the way from Utah. We were staying near Zion to go to Vegas just because staying in a casino parking lot didn't appeal to us. The Las Vegas RV resort was really expensive. We didn't feel like piloting the RV through Vegas and all the craziness. You know, I mean, we like Las Vegas, but other than that, it's like, and then it's kind of like, well, what else is there to do in Nevada? To be fair, we went to Lake Mead, we went to the recreation center, and there's some hikes and things out there, but we were able to kind of get Nevada out of our system really quick. So for us, it wouldn't make sense to stay there for weeks and weeks. I do like the desert, but I've liked other desert more, like Arizona and parts of California. And even in Texas, we went to Big Bend. That was really fun. That was really exciting. Really great place for us to RV. So Nevada is kind of like, meh, I don't know. I don't really like Nevada. So it's a place. But those are just my opinions. I'm sure that you have the best and worst places you have found to RV. And to be fair, we haven't really gotten up northeast. We do have that blind spot. We haven't taken it up through New England. I'm actually from New England, and I have seen, especially in my native state of Maine, the season for RVing is really, really short, and a lot of the campgrounds are old and they don't have really big room for bigger RVs. And my folks live on like a little dirt road. It would be impossible for us to park at their house. We couldn't even get the thing down the road without damaging it. They live on a dirt road by a lake. They just got mail service within the last few years. Like, I live in a very rural area to the point where RVs don't even fit. People don't necessarily have them because they can't get them down the roads without damaging them. So for me, that's been less of an option. The Northeast tends to be a little tighter. So I would suspect the Northeast would also be very, very challenging. Anyway, it was great talking to you as always. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.